Hey everyone, Patrick here. Welcome to monthly project number 66. And the theme for this one was quite a creative theme. Draw this in the wrong style. So the idea behind this is to intentionally mismatch a art style. So like imagine a Disney character, but in horror realism. So yeah, super realistic kind of horror, like the style is way off and it might work really well and be really fun, and creative. So that's the idea. Another fun example would be, think of a brutal medieval battle, but illustrated in like a children's book kind of art style, or imagine like Saturday morning cartoon rendered in a Renaissance realism art style, things like that. So it's all about breaking visual expectations, also studying art styles deeply, and ideally just making bold, creative decisions and thinking outside the box. I think that's one of the key things as an artist that can really make you stand out. So let's get right into it. Again, I'm going to be implementing the art trials. It's a really cool ranking system for artists, so they kind of level up. And this month's trials are focusing on creativity, anatomy accuracy, execution and craft, world building and immersion. So for each of those, artists will achieve stars and rank up depending on how many stars they achieved. So let's get right into it and have a look, see what the community has come up with this month. Okay, so our first entry is from Andrew O. Your current rank is Sketchling, and you've done a Disney-style Jill Valentine from Resident Evil. That's a really cool mashup because you've got this really cartoony style, the most cartoony style on the planet, I would say, Disney, and you've mashed it with horror-themed video games, Resident Evil, very horror-like, so the zombie theme. She's very badass in the game, very cool, great character. So I really like what you've done. I like the idea. I think what really would have pulled this together is if you had some kind of backdrop. Imagine her in like the city streets and maybe a couple of zombies behind her. Really set the mood. Because when it's just her alone, if you didn't tell me it was Jill Valentine, I probably wouldn't have straight away known that. I would have needed the zombies and the world around her to get that immersion, to really sink you into it. So I think that would have really helped here. All right, so let's have a look at your trials and how you went. So creativity, I gave you 1 star for that. And that's only because I feel like if you're going to mix horror and everything else, I think there's a lot of stronger options that would work really well within a Disney style. She works really well here. It works, but I think it could have been a lot more impact is what I'm trying to say. And you know what? Like I said, I think this would have worked more. You still could have used her, but if there was something around her or behind, like zombies, and she's in the setting and it's there, that would have probably bumped it up way more. By herself, it kind of just looks like a soldier, ready for action. Almost Tomb Raider-ish, almost. So anatomy and accuracy, I gave you 2 stars. I thought for a Disney style, the anatomy and the accuracy is there. It's right there. There's just a couple of little things that I'm noticing. It's just when you zoom in, this shoulder just seems a little too big compared to everything else. It's like just a bit of a bulge. That there throws me off slightly. It seems like the center of her chest and things like that are just a little off, a little too far off to the right. Little things. Only when you look closely is when you'll notice. The placement of the neck is slightly bothering me. It looks like it's not quite connected to the head or something rather. I feel like the jaw needs to drop or something. So it's really just slightly like the hairline seems off center. Just even here where even if the hair does part slightly to the left bit, there still should be like some hair bunching here. It's a little bit too much forehead or something going on. So just little things. That's all I'm trying to say. So 2 stars. Execution and craft, 1 star. I'd say, just like I said, just because of, I feel like it could have been a much stronger piece in a different you know, that clash. You want the super cartoony with something super horror. You don't want to go super cartoony with something kind of medium horror. You want to just, you know, you want the most impact from both worlds clashed together and smashed into one thing. And that's when you'll get a super strong execution. The craft is good. You've done, you know, the line work is nice and clean. I think it works nicely, but it could have more variation. It's a little too straight and plain in some bits, but it's strong and it stands out, and that's what matters as well, especially from a distance. So that's good. World building and immersion, I gave you 2 stars. Now this is because I feel like it does set the mood for the Disney. I can see it, it's clear, but the you know, it could be a little more. But on the Resident Evil side of things, I think it also does look like Jill Valentine. You know, if you look her up, it really does look like her. So that was good. Yeah. Let me give you a little bit of feedback as well. Anyway, sorry, total 6 stars out of 12. You just missed out on the next rank, which would have been Apprentice. You need 7 stars to rank up to the next one. So let me have a quick look at it though. I want to just show you some things in Photoshop. Okay, here's your piece. So yeah, here's some Disney stuff just for reference. You know, a little softer, a little lighter in the line work, lots of flow. That's the kind of thing we're looking for. Here, you know, it's very animated straight away. And then, yeah, so you've got that, but I feel like it could have been a little more, you know what I mean? So the line work, I think, just went a little too heavy maybe for the style. So if you want to stick to the exact kind of style, I feel like another good thing they do in Disney movies is they do lighten up their outlines a lot. So that would have been a key point for yours if you're really going for accuracy to the style. I think it would have been great to, you know, colorize those lines. So it's not going to look perfect because I do have that on a separate layer and it's showing the other. But you know what I mean? Like you could colorize these. That would really help match that style. Even with the blue, yeah, I could start colorizing those outlines a bit, and that really does help blend a lot nicer to everything around it. So yeah, that would have been really good for style. You know, a lot lighter and poppier. But again, I feel like if it had a background like this with zombies lurking around and it's Resident Evil, that vibe was there, that'd really look so cool in this Disney style. So yeah, maybe some more saturation would probably help as well. Yeah, you see, like as soon as I start to saturate it, or vibrance, let me do some vibrance. Yeah, vibrance definitely helps, saturation, and maybe light, a little bit lighter as well. Let me see what it's like if I just lighten it up more. Still keeping like some of the darkness parts, but lighting up the mid-tones. I feel like we instantly get, you know, a nice balance there. And if I add the outline stuff that I was doing, yeah, it's starting to look a lot more poppy. So just, you know, from a distance straight away, I'm getting even more of a Disney vibe now that I've done those slight changes. Let me do something further. You know, another thing I notice in a lot of Disney stuff is they go really thin under the eyes and then really thick on top. And that's really good, especially with the female characters. I mean, look here, really thick on top, really thin under, and here it's barely even visible, and I like the way that works. And they rely on the color. So, you know, what if we did something like that? If I just came in here and sized this brush down, and this is the shrinking brush, and then just try and shrink your outlines underneath. And then I'll go the other way and use the bulge tool to make the top ones a lot thicker. And I think that's going to look really cool straight away. I'll just show you a quick before and after. So before and after, it's just very slight, but I feel like it really helps. Yeah, so that's what I recommend. And yeah, just, you know, like I said before, just that shoulder, if we just got that, and if I just slightly just take it down, instant relief. I feel like once I shrink that down a little bit, and maybe just where the strap is, pull that shoulder across like this. I feel like it just needs where the join goes, you know. It's kind of bothering me slightly. Anyway, there's just a few tweaks there, so slight little tweaks that I feel like can really bump this up and help it. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Thanks so much, Andrew. You're awesome. Keep it up. All right, next up we have Paul Chury. Your current rank is Apprentice, and you've done a Scooby-Doo style, you know, in a medieval kind of theme, fantasy, you know, darker kind of edgy theme with a cartoony Scooby-Doo. That's a really cool mix. Very nice to see, and yeah, I like it. It's fun. It's a fun one, and that's what this is all about. So let's have a look at your trials for the month and how you went with your stars. So yeah, I thought with creativity on this one, it's very creative. So 2 stars I thought for that. Very cool mix. I like what you've done there, mixing up that kind of style with, you know, getting Scooby-Doo so shaggy and yeah, changing it up. Very cool. Anatomy and accuracy I thought was on point. I was looking, I spent some time. I thought it was great. I couldn't fault really anything here. I thought you've nailed it. The proportions look fine to me. The anatomy's all there. You can see the muscle definition, even the dog, everything. So I thought that was good. 3 stars. Execution and craft. I thought overall 2 stars. You know, execution, the craft. So like line work, how well the artwork looks. You know, I think it stands out. You've done a really good job. Your line work's great. You know, really good. I feel like it just could be, maybe it does come across slightly messy or slightly, I don't know if you'd call it rushed, but like say for this hand, for instance, could be a lot more refined, and you know, think of it as if it was like ready for a comic, like in the industry and things like that. Like you've got the style there. It does look like that comic art style, and it looks really good from a distance. It's only when you zoom in, and you can notice maybe the hands, things like that could be refined even more. And I'm talking about more finesse, like that final touch, you know, knuckles and a little bit of balance, you know, throughout. I always study Ryan Otley, things like that for hands, or just any line work kind of stuff. He's really good with all that and the anatomy. And you'll see what I mean, like if you just look at his knuckles, hands, anything like that, they're very, like a lot cleaner, like very, very good. So that kind of thing is what I mean. Like you want it to be that quality level. That's where you can get that extra star in. I like the colors, the rendering looks good. So, and then for world building, and immersion, I thought perfect, really good. World building, you've really set that medieval fantasy warrior theme there. You know, immersion, I love the background, the vibe. It's got this, yeah, kind of vibe to it that you can just feel it. I love the fog and the green misty kind of backdrop. So it's all there. The immersion looks really good. I like it. I think it's great. Total stars is 10. You got 10 stars out of this one. So really good. You've leveled up to Apprentice now. So congrats to that. I just want to point out as well, you know, some feedback maybe. You know, I think this sits in the creativity kind of theme. You got the 2 stars. I think if you wanted that extra star, I feel like it's just something to do with, I feel like the way the mashup kind of confuses me slightly. At first glance, I don't know why, but I thought it was Zelda. And I think obviously it's just because of the ripped, tattered clothes, maybe the sword, and just first glance. So I didn't instantly think of Shaggy and Scooby. And I don't know, to really sell that theme, I think much stronger. Maybe, I don't know, I'm imagining maybe if the outfit was different slightly, or the look. You could probably still have Shaggy, maybe in his build. Like he's still got that skinny, scrawny build, but he's just decked out in warrior gear. Looking more confident still, but maybe still have Shaggy's proportions. Maybe not so muscular. I don't know. I could be wrong there. Because I just feel like it loses Shaggy. It just doesn't look like Shaggy as much anymore. And I know Scooby doesn't either. He's a whole different dog now. But I do like this, how he's evolved into a different scenario. Like, this is almost like a different world or universe version, which is cool. But yeah, I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Like, imagine if the usual Shaggy like had all this gear on him, and maybe he's weighted down a bit and he's struggling to stand up, or you could add a bit of humor there. And maybe he's holding the sword out to like some evil ghost or something in front of him, or I don't know. There's a lot more creativity that could be added to it. And I think what I'm trying to say is to sell the idea. And at the moment, I don't feel like it sells as much as it could. As in, like I said, I didn't instantly think that was Scooby-Doo mixed in the other style. That's just me, though. So yeah, what I mean is, like, you really want to try and hit the nail on the head with the first glance idea, like, make people chuckle, and it's like, oh, that is great, that's hilarious, which it does, but it's not instant. So yeah, I don't know, it's just, I feel like it's a great piece though, so don't get me wrong, I feel like this is executed greatly, it looks so cool. But I'm just throwing my 2 cents out there of my ideas, and maybe being able to improve and get that exact, setup and reaction, and yeah. Anyway, we'll move on. I really like what you've done. Awesome work. Congrats on the level up, on the rank up. Okay, next up we have Sirill. Current rank is Rookie. You have done a really cool piece here. I love this. So you've chosen to do a mashup of, imagine Wolverine in the Dragon Ball manga style, which is a very bold move. I like it because it's unexpected. I never would have thought of mashing that, like, Marvel into a Dragon Ball manga art style. I think that's cool. It's outside the box a bit. The original manga is from Akira. Sorry, I can't remember the name exactly, but his art style is very specific and very popular as well in the manga and anime community. Japanese comics, and yeah, you've nailed it. You've absolutely nailed it here. I like how accurate it is. Very cool. So creativity, I give you 3 stars on that one. I thought it was great. But just the idea, the choice, something I wouldn't have expected. So it's a surprise. It's very, you have that impact. Very cool. Anatomy and accuracy, 2 stars. To the style, because when I say anatomy, I'm not looking for the exact human anatomy of everyday stuff. I have to adapt. You have to put it into this art style. So the anatomy of Dragon Ball Z, basically, manga. And yeah, you've got it. I think it's all there. It's just slightly some parts that could be improved more, I guess, in an anatomy wise. So it's really close though, and really cool. Like, it looks just like the art style. It's very cool. So 2 stars there. Execution and craft, 3 stars. Awesome work. I think you've executed it. It looks like, I love the anime face. Think of Goku, but like if he was in a Wolverine suit. I love it. It's gritty. It looks like it's drawn from the 90s, like how it should be. Like, it looks very accurate. World building and immersion is the same. 3 stars. Awesome work there. This is just, superb. World building, like, it's exactly feels like the anime and the manga and everything, the comic. You nailed it. You absolutely nailed that. I think that's very immersive. You just hit it on the head. I think that's really good. Love this, how, the Japanese writing. So cool. 11 stars total. You've leveled up. So you are straight into Sketchling now. And your next rank, to strive towards would be Apprentice. So yeah, if you keep up with the monthly projects, you could level up some more. You'll need, I believe it's 7 stars for the next one to level up again. And then every rank is another star on top. It gets harder and harder. So you have to make sure that you keep up the good work, and you'll rank up quick. Awesome work there. I love it. Well done. Okay, last submission here from Uze. Current rank is Rookie, and this is really cool. Let me explain this one for you. So think of Frankenstein, but with cars. So you've done a little write-up here. Professor Dr. Hudson wanted to create a car-like creature. And basically, let me cut this into a little, nutshell for you. He assembled the car parts he found. It's mashed up from actual humans and like parts and things. I love how you've mentioned here. You said, just like in humans, the car has respiratory systems, circulatory systems, organs, and cells. I really think that's cool and creepy at the same time. You said many people were sacrificed for this, and he basically it's like a living car. I think that's very cool. He's putting the eyeball in. It's going to be looking through the front windscreen there. So does that mean there's no metal? The car is not even, if you touch it, does it feel like skin? That's wild. I really like the idea behind this. You named it Lightning, which is very cool for like the Frankenstein theme. So let's have a look at your trials. Creativity. I thought this was super creative. Something I never would have expected, and I just think it's really cool. The idea behind this is very bold and super creative. Frankenstein, and like he's trying to create like a flesh, breathing car that has a heartbeat. It's crazy to me. That's insane and very cool. So 3 stars for the creativity there. I thought that was awesome. Anatomy and accuracy, I gave you 1 star, only because obviously there's nothing really anatomy-wise to look at apart from him, which looks proportionately okay. It's only when you zoom in, like the things like the feet, looks a bit flat, a little bit like a flipper almost. Things like that, just slightly off. It's only when you zoom in. The head's probably maybe slightly too big. I don't know, unless he's a really short kind of guy. He's got a lot of clothing on, and the details just aren't quite there, so it's hard to read. So 1 star. Execution and craft, I gave you 1 star. Only because... and that's not bad. It's like you've done a good job, but it could be improved a lot. It could be really, it's the art style. I like the grittiness of it and the painterly look, but it's not completely refined enough and crafted enough. Like the colors of the car and everything almost blend with the background, so there's no separation almost. Like if I was to sample this color and sample this color, the shades are almost identical. So the only thing, if I zoom in, the only thing that's breaking apart the car from the background is a slight saturation and difference in color tone, slightly. So it's you want pop, you want it to lift up and be separate from the backdrop, standing out. You know what I mean? That would really help. Some line work would go a long way, I feel like, or if that's not your art style, maybe shading or something to help bring it to life more. It's very flat. There's just not too much. You have a really nice texture going over, and it's very crafty, but there's just not too much shading. It's very straight, and like the platform here, everything is very side on, like a side scroller, but it's too perfect. You want it to look like you're in a room that's, do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain, but it's too side on, too front. The view is not interesting enough. You could have maybe a 3/4 angle, maybe slightly lower, looking up to get that kind of tension, drama. Think of it like a movie scene, and if the cameraman, how would you make a dramatic shot? You want to have it placed at a cool angle. So stuff like that you got to really think of composition wise. So yeah, 1 star, sorry there. World building and immersion, I give you 2 stars because it is very cool. The world building is there, the immersion is there. I thought it was a great setup, great idea. I just think this is cool. You've done that. The grittiness, creepiness, outside the lightning, yeah, very cool. Anyway, let's leave it there. 7 stars total. You've leveled up. So your next rank is, you are now Sketchling. So congrats on that. Awesome work. Keep it up. and you'll end up an apprentice, and then so on. So great work, Uzo. Awesome. Can't wait to see what you do next. Alright, and yeah, that is it for this monthly project. That was really cool to see. I loved all of that. Thank you everyone for the submissions. I know there wasn't too many, but it was really great, to go through this, because I like the theme. I like this idea. I'm trying to come up with these new ideas for monthly projects. I'm coming up with the next one now, about to release it out to the patrons, the art community. It should be fun. I still need to work out the details, so it's not quite there. Anyway, if you are new to the Patreon and you want to jump on board, get on these monthly projects, head over to patreon.com/PatrickBrown, and it'll be fun. Always trying to keep the artists moving, and especially with this ranking system. All right, I'll leave you all to it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.